now. Hey, everybody, you're listening to the Total Basis podcast, and I am Felipe. Over there is a new co-host. It is Angel Morales. Angel, how you doing this evening? Morning, actually.
Really,
The morning after Christmas. How you doing?
really good. A great day for talking about baseball, spending time with the family last 2 days. So I'm antsy about this one.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Like I said, to anybody who's out there, we're live on Facebook at the Baseball Life Facebook group. We'll be posting this on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, and this will be the last one of the year. As I think I'm going to at the very least, we're going to take another week break as we go into the new season and start the fourth season of this podcast. Well, Angel, you've been listening, and actually you've been a part of a league or so with me as well. What's the biggest takeaway of this show and what we're trying to do here on this podcast, and what do you think of the leagues that you've been set up with me so far in the last year or so?
Um, Basically, first of all, it's having fun with people that love baseball, love sports, but most of all, it's analyzing. Trying to do your best at bragging rights of who's the better non-professional analyst in baseball. So this is my takeaways on these baseball podcasts. Just for fun, but also trying to be able to analyze and realize which one has the better take. And at the end of the year, trying to have bragging rights of I got this guy and you got that guy. Trying to have fun with that.
Yeah, and it's about fun, and it's also it's a hobby, right?
Yeah.
But as we talked about, I think there's a method to all of this, right? There's a reason, there's a why to all of this. And I've been trying to figure out why I do this. Why do I insist on getting up on my days off from my bread job and to do this? Why I stay up until late into the evening and work on spreadsheets in the off season for baseball. And that's like, but if I don't do it, I go crazy. If I don't do it, I feel like I'm not doing anything at all. I'm just wasting my time, which
it's our niche.
It's my niche, right? But because to an outsider, this looks like, well, you're wasting your time. This could be a time you could be using working and getting more money for you and your family and getting an extra revenue of income and this and that and the other. Why are you wasting time looking at statistics that mean nothing? And there must be a method to the madness, right? There must be a reasoning. I think my reasoning is that it actually, as crazy as it sounds, it actually, I've noticed that ever since I started doing this type of stuff with the advanced stats, the analytics, and the breakdown of baseball statistics for fantasy baseball purposes, it's actually helped me in my professional career as well. I feel like as soon as I started doing this, my professional career started to take off, where I guess in that aspect, I am making more money and extra income for my family and myself as well. So the way I see it, this is helping me, and it's creating opening up new avenues that I never knew existed before I started embarking on this journey the last 5, 6, 7 years or whatever. So it may not be helping me. I'm not a what do you call it, a fantasy baseball expert, so to speak, but it is helping me in other ways, professionally speaking, in other avenues. And I look forward to see where this takes me.
Listen, not trying to get too philosophical with this, but discipline in any aspect leads you to have more discipline in other aspects. So you being disciplined on this, you're trying to do your best, helps you focus on what is working with this, so you can apply it on your job, on your family,
Absolutely,
on your life. So
yeah, and
there's a method to this madness, and
right. And I think, and I think that's what I'm trying to say. It has to streamline into something else, right? I can't just be doing this. Like I said, my as crazy as it sounds, my Excel skills have gone up because of fantasy baseball. And guess what? I use a lot at work. Freaking spreadsheets, Excel, excellent, right? So and without this, I feel like it did help a lot, and again, it's for fun, but it's also for work. And it's also to improve myself as a person. And I don't know, I just absolutely, I love it, man. I enjoy it. I love, and when I don't do something, I go crazy. And like you just mentioned, if you don't have the discipline to do it, you're not gonna have the discipline to do something else, like especially professionally. And I feel like anytime I don't get any, if there are days where I'm not doing a podcast or I'm not analyzing some player statistics, it might affect my real work progress. Not to expose myself too much, but it does, like, because I all I keep thinking is like, oh man, I gotta do that list about prospects. I gotta do that list about the pitchers. But I can't because I'm stuck at work. And then when I get home, I'm gonna be stuck with the kid, and it really does mess with me. But when I get that done, it does. I feel. I don't know about you, but I feel like it opens up my mind to get to the important stuff. Right. I took care
for
of the
sure.
stuff that I love, so now it's time for me to do the stuff that that is providing me shelter, clothes on my back, food on my belly, and is protecting my kid and my wife. So it's really it's been an interesting journey, and the last 4 seasons of this new version of the podcast, which has been the longest, most consistent version of this podcast. Because I don't know if you know, Angel, but we've done several iterations of this podcast before, and I thought I saw my good friend Matt Bushnell tuning in for a second or so, but that's where we started. Matt and I used to be coworkers, and Matt would come to my house, to my apartment, and we would share one microphone, one laptop, and we would just take turns speaking into that microphone. We just put the microphone in the middle of the table, and we would just talk, and that's how it started.
So annoying, honestly, but
well, we're good friends. We're good friends, so we're good friends. So we were able to endure and have discussions about this, but it got annoying because we were trying to look at the computer for certain information. So we're looking up football information, but I need to look up some because we were doing all 4 sports in one episode. So he will look up football information, I will look up baseball information, but we can't because we're sharing the same screen. So that in that aspect, it did get annoying. So, but otherwise, and also our computers were just bad. I mean, our computers would make these loud noises that could be picked up on the internal mic. Like it looked like we were in an airport. It sounded like we were in an airport. Sorry, not look, but it sounded like we were at an airport. And then we did one. There was another version that I did with Sean that kind of, we did it through SoundCloud. So so along with the SoundCloud rappers, hey, here's between SoundCloud rapping, you can listen to this podcast about all types of stuff, about sports, mostly fantasy baseball, and then there was a wrestling one. So anyway, it's been a long journey, but I finally found some consistency with Sean the last 4 seasons. And then when the pandemic hit, we were able to figure out, hey, what if we just all of us do a podcast? And that's where Dong City came from. That's where the Football Life podcast came from. There was a cooking show for a while, but it all stemmed from the pandemic. And 4 seasons later, we're still on it. Well, it'll be 4th season next year, but
very blessed to be here.
And you're a part of it too, Angel. You listen, and you're in our leagues, and this is what, your 2nd or 3rd time that you've been a guest on this podcast. So I thank you for that as well. But all that being said is that I'm grateful for the last 3 years, and I look forward to where this takes me, or where this takes all of us involved in this project in 2023. So we're bidding goodbye, but this is our last goodbye, and this is our last project. And like I mentioned, this is an annual thing for me, Angel, in case you haven't noticed, where I look at mostly at the CBS Sports fantasy baseball website, because I'm kind of I've been listening to those guys for years as well. So they're kind of an inspiration to why I do this as well. And Scott White, he's the author of this website that we're going to be looking into. It's the Fantasy Baseball Mock Draft, the first look at the head-to-head points format for 2023. It reflects the latest trades and signings, even though it's from December 16, 2022. So it's the 10 days later, right? 10 days later. But you know what? Put it this way, that might have been their last mock draft of the season. So this will be our last episode of the season. As it's 10 days later, but it's still relevant, right, Angel?
Hey, we make relevancy here.
Damn right. And Carlos Correa is still not signed, so it doesn't matter. So we're just gonna go with
physical. Just pending physical.
Pending lots of physical. He's gonna get physical, all right. So here's the 12 people who were on this mock draft for the head-to-head points league. Doug Rowe, he's a podcast listener and the league champion. So there you go. They just got I guess they got some listener to join some random league, and he beat all the experts. So anything is possible, you guys. I'm still waiting for one of you guys to beat me. So gives you guys some hope for next year. You know, guys like Ricky, Angel, Corey Decker, even Austin.
I was very close. I was very close.
Yeah, man, you
I
fought your
wasn't
way
close
back.
I wasn't close on the matchup, but I was very close.
Maybe Austin will beat me one of these days. This is once again I beat him in the championship.
Very close too. You were stressed about that.
He was the best team in the league for a while. So yeah, this was the second time I beat him in the playoffs. So because he was in a separate league years before.
I think I was in that league too, but
maybe I'll have to look at the ESPN archives. But yeah, guys like AJ, maybe he'll show up to the draft next year, and maybe he'll actually have a better showing this year. Which better showing? He won one of the divisions, but he couldn't beat me at all. I went 3-0 against him.
Yeah.
So Daniel Preciado, I forgot where he's from, but I remember him in previous mock drafts. I always end up making fun of him a lot. At least that's how I remember it. Chris Towers, he's a CBS Sports analyst. Scott White, obviously the dean of head-to-head points leagues at CBS Sports. Jake Weiner out of Prospects 1500. George Kurtz out of the Sports Grid. Chris Mitchell out of the Fantasy Data website or Twitter or whatever. I don't know what the hell that is. Raymond Atherton. He's just Raymond Atherton. I have no idea, but he sounds familiar, so we're going to go with it. Frank Stample out of the CBS Sports website. RJ White, also from the Fantasy Sports, CBS Sports website. Tim Kanak from the Fantasy Aceball podcast. Dave Funnel, also from Prospects 1500. So those are your 12 players. And, you know, no spreadsheet today, Angel, but I'm going to share my screen anyway, because it only makes sense if we get to share the screen. And there's the first round, and there's the first pick, Aaron Judge. So guys, for those watching on YouTube or on the Facebook Live, flip your phones to the side. I'm going to try to make it bigger, but I can only fit so many names. But make sure you're paying attention to the left column and not the right column. The right column is going to be Raymond Atherton's team. So we're not looking at that. Maybe we will look at it later, but we're looking at the left column. And Aaron Judge is the first pick overall in a fantasy points league. It may not make sense in a roto league with the traditional 5x5, especially if Aaron Judge doesn't steal the amount of bases he stole this past year. But in points league, I guess after thinking about it, in a points league where home runs are worth 4 points each, I guess, and you add the RBIs and the runs, it makes a lot of sense. Do you have any objections to this, Angel?
Aaron Judge is the consensus first pick, either on fantasy points, on cat leagues, or roto, whatever you want to pick. His worst season will be the best season for any of these players afterwards.
Good point.
So
that's a good point.
Basically, that's his floor. So might as well just go with an upside on that. So, and you know what he showed last year? He showed to be the best American League hitting home run hitter of all time. What else do you need to prove about it? Plus, you said he steals bases. You know, plus he also hits for average. You know, he was fifth on average on the league last season. So he almost got a triple crown.
Right.
So imagine that. Like that's a no-brainer for me. So
early on projections from Steamer has him hitting 44 home runs, over 100 runs in RBI, 10 stolen bases with a 276 batting average. And what's his opposite ops? His ops will be at 937. Now let's start with let's just stick with the home runs. 44 home runs. You think he's going to reach that again, or you think he's going to fall short of 44 home runs next season?
I mean, he's reached 50 twice, right? So 40 is lowballing it in my opinion. So 40, like I said, 40. I think Kyle Schwarber was the league leading home run hitter in the National League. It was 44 or something like that too.
Sounds right. Sounds right.
So basically, you're in even lowballing on the projections. You're the best home run hitter in any league. So you just got to go with that.
You know what? I'm going to look into that right now. Is Aaron Judge the projected home run leader for next year at 44 home runs. The only other concern I have for him is that he maybe not the last 2 seasons, but early on in his career, like in 2018 and 2019, hell, even in 2020, I know there were only 60 games, but he only played 28 games there. He's shown an inability to stay healthy. And again, the last 2 years he has stayed healthy, but that's always kind of lingering that, these soft tissue injuries are going to come back to haunt him. Is that a concern for you whatsoever?
Um,
I got you
a
thinking now,
little
huh?
bit,
A
a little
little bit,
bit,
he says.
a
Okay.
little bit. There's always concern with an injury prone player, but now that he's stayed healthy for the last 2 years, he has proved us wrong. But yeah, I mean, it's still on the back of our minds, but it's now on the back of my mind. It's not 2 years ago when I was like, can he stay healthy? Can he play ball? Can he produce at a high level consistently? Now he can. So why? I mean, basically just trying to go with the recency bias, as in like he has stayed healthy for the last 2 years. It will basically pick up for the third year in a row. So
He'll be 31 in late April. Is age a concern for you at all?
at the moment, no. Maybe
Okay.
in a year or two, maybe even 3 years, maybe. And even that, he'll be at the age. They're probably going to be DHing him, moving him from the outfield. So his production offensively will stay. So I don't believe it's gonna be a struggle offensively. It's just gonna be like you said. I mean, the concerns of his injuries prior in his career will be lingering later on, maybe. But right now he's stayed healthy, so he'll probably produce the same way for the next 2 or 3 years. And maybe he's not gonna reach 62 again. I mean, God forbid, I don't want to see another janky wave of, I don't want to see a lot of janky news, but at the end of the day,
For those who don't know, Angel's a Tampa Bay Rays fan, unfortunately for him.
unfortunately, I'm like that.
Really
But
quick,
like,
Steamer, Aaron Judge, 44 home runs. Mike Trout, 40 home runs. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 40 home runs. Pete Alonso, 39. Kyle Schwarber, 38. And Fernando Tatis, who will not play in as many games, still one of the more explosive players in the league, 37 home runs. And Jordan Alvarez at 36. So those are the guys who will, according to Steamer projections, are going to finish up well above 35 home runs. It's a who's who, right? It's a who's who of the best power hitting hitters in Major League Baseball right now. So
like I said, even as we've seen his ceiling now, even at his lowballing it on the projections, he's still the best hitter in the league. So
all right, so we're gonna go with it. We're gonna be okay with Aaron Judge being the number one guy. And I'm assuming these are updated. Yeah, December 26, 2022. Okay, so these are updated. All right, so that takes care of that. What was I doing? I don't know if I want to name all these guys because we'll be here all day. But so far, I don't have any issues.
I have just one issue.
Go ahead.
Why is Shohei Ohtani that low?
Good question. If it's a points league, see, now if it's daily, that's a huge advantage. I mean, Sean's won back-to-back championships in our baseball life league, but that's a categories league, but and that's a semi-weekly league. But still, he's just the fact that he's able to flip him in and out of being a hitter and being a pitcher is a huge advantage to him. But yeah, I would have picked Shohei Ohtani over guys like Kyle Tucker and even Sandy Alcantara, even Julio Rodriguez. Julio Rodriguez is a red flag for me. I don't know why he's a first round pick in this mock draft.
That too.
That's kind of a red flag. And Rodriguez kind of slowed down at the end of the year, and his strikeouts are just ridiculously high. And I mean, it's an ebb and flow. Yeah, for a successful rookie year, but will that follow up with a tumbling sophomore slump? And I'm not a believer in sophomore slumps, but I am a believer in that there is an ebb and flow to this, and it might be year to year, it might be month to month, it might be quarterly, right? We don't know. It just depends on the player, but the strikeouts are a little bit of a concern for me. So, not to take anything away from it, but for a first round pick, Julio Rodriguez, that's a tough pill for me to swallow. I'm looking at Shohei Ohtani's numbers from last year, the offensive numbers, and I don't see anything that's kind of concerning. Did he strike out too much? No, not really.
Same thing as Aaron Judge early in his career, injury prone, maybe. But you're having a two-way player. Basically, people were having a sincere discussion as the all-time leader in American League home runs versus a two-way player for the MVP discussions last year. So it's kind of like, why is it, the second best player? It's the number 12 player on your mock draft. That's kind of weird, but
I guess 11 stolen bases last year. It might be turning people off. So if you're thinking in that mentality, but it's a points league though. That's the thing. It's a points league. Unless they think that he's going to get neutralized as a left-handed hitter, but then why pick Kyle Tucker ahead of Shohei Ohtani, who's also a left-handed hitter?
and look, I had Kyle Tucker last year. He's one of the most streakiest player I've had in a long time. So like he started really bad and then turned off the Jets at the end of the season, which is pretty good for the Astros, but for me, it was really concerning because I struggled those first months because of him struggling. So it's kind of like whether you want consistency, which I believe Shohei Ohtani has a little bit more consistency than Kyle Tucker. So,
by the way, 25.9% for Julio Rodriguez is a strikeout rate, so I guess it's not too bad. And speaking of modern baseball, the way it is, but I don't know, it's put up against a 7.1 walk rate. So it's like just the fact that he can't get to 10% yet was a little concerning for me last year. Otherwise, I guess he's. Oh yeah, no. The other thing about Julio Rodriguez, the plate discipline. He swings at 50% of pitches, and only makes 71% contact rate, which only a few players can get away with that. Maybe Julio Rodriguez has the bat speed to keep getting away with that, but for me, I'd rather have a more polished guy in the first round than a wild swinging guy that early. That's just me though. And then so yeah, and you're right about Kyle Tucker. He was very streaky. I mean, streaky last year, very frustrating to have. But when he's on, and he can do both the power speed.
For sure.
So I guess maybe that's why Ohtani fell because of that, because he can't guarantee the speed anymore. Is maybe the thinking. But I don't know. I mean, when he pitches, he pitches these amazing games. Double-digit strikeouts and. It's just I've bought into the whole Shohei Ohtani train at this point. I think you can get one more really good year. Well, so we're gonna pick him ahead of Kyle Tucker. Do we pick him ahead of Sandy Alcantara? Shohei Ohtani, I mean. I think I would.
I would. The problem with Sandy also is he's a Cy Young winner too, so it's kind of like he's the best pitcher in the National League. Shohei Ohtani was probably the fifth best pitcher in the league. If we don't go off what wins, like you go off like production, like strikeouts per 9 and everything, he's probably one of the best pitchers in the American League. But he was the second best hitter in the American League. Sandy was the best pitcher in the National League last year. So it's kind of like, do you want to just go as like he's listed as utility over here? You want to go with a jack of all trades type of guy, or you want to go with the best pitcher who's going to give you night in and night out the best performance in the National League? So
big shout out to my buddy Chris, who for all intents and purposes, I defeated him in our fantasy football semifinal. So it looks like I'll be facing my buddy Matt, who I just mentioned, in the championship game, which that's one of those where it's the equivalent of the Cubs and the White Sox facing each other, where it's a game 7 and the final out's about to be made, and then the game gets called off due to a catastrophic event. It's as similar as it can be right there and then. So unless Chris gets like a million points from Mike Williams tonight, for all intents and purposes, I defeated him. Matt has a tighter game, so to speak, quote unquote. I use that term loosely, tighter in his bracket, on his side of the bracket. But I think he's about to. I think he'll be fine. The other guy needs 30 points from 2 Chargers players tonight, so I don't see that happening. So yeah, so I think it's gonna be me and Matt next week, and that's gonna be crazy. Let's see. We got 2 pitchers here. Would you Garrett Cole and Sandy Alcantara over Garrett?
I picked Sandy over Garrett Cole.
And did you pick Sandy over Shohei Ohtani? I forget.
I was still torn on that one.
No, I gotta pick one, man. Pick one. Gun to your head. Let's go.
I'll go Sandy as the best pitcher.
Okay, so Shohei Ohtani is the 11th pick overall. That's why. That answers the question. Why did Shohei Ohtani fall to the 12th spot? Because you would pick Sandy Alcantara over Shohei Ohtani.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like That will
There you
be
go.
if you go space off offensively production, he's no doubt the best hitter. But if you want to pick like switch him off between pitching and hitting on your league,
In a daily
then
league, probably
yeah, then
you have that
basically
advantage in the daily league, but in
yeah,
a weekly league, let's just say for the all intents, it's a weekly league.
yeah. I mean, if it's a weekly league, you probably want to stick Otani on the offensive side. So
Okay,
maybe
so
he's maybe maybe I will pick him higher, but I can understand why they pick him that now.
okay, so you're gonna so in this exercise, you're gonna pick Otani over Alcantara. If it's a weekly head-to-head points league, you're picking Otani over Alcantara, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean
Okay,
he's way much. He's probably the second best hitter in the American League if we
all
go
right,
off based off MVP. So
all right. What about Julio Rodriguez versus Shohei Otani?
nah, Julio. I love Julio Rodriguez.
Okay,
I'm a big Julio fan, but
so there you
also
go.
injury concerns. There's there's also the injury concerns with Julio. He's really young, and he missed a lot of time last season with injuries. That's very concerning for me. It could be turning off as like Aaron Judge, which is like he was injury riddled start of his career, and now he's producing at an all time rate. But right now, I don't. I'm really torn on picking him in the first round. So
So would you pick him ahead of Shohei Otani, Julio Rodriguez?
no, I pick
Okay.
Shohei Ohtani.
Okay. All right. So, by the way, to be fair to Julio, I know we've been kind of bashing him this whole time. I mean, he
No,
still got 132 games and 560 plate appearances last year. So it's not too loss of a cause there. But yeah, we would like to see him play more because, if you play more, you produce more, right? This is simple math.
yes,
All right. So Shohei Otani's moving up against Freddie Freeman for the 8th spot. Who wins that one for you?
Freddie Freeman and Julio.
Shohei,
Um,
gun to your head.
I pick, I pick, I pick Shohei.
All right. Shohei Otani versus Garrett Cole.
Shohei Ohtani. No doubt
Shohei
about it.
Otani versus Manny Machado.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
now after probably this, it will be between the 7th pick and the first pick. I'm okay with you pick Shohei Ohtani,
Over Manny
but
Machado?
it could be. But
No.
also Manny Machado he played big time the last couple years, so I wouldn't be so mad if somebody picked Manny Machado over Shohei.
But would you do it? I'm not asking if other people. Would you
No,
do it?
I would pick Shohei still.
Still Shohei. Okay. Okay. This is getting interesting.
And
This
I
is
picked
getting
Juan
very
Soto,
interesting.
and we're not going Juan Soto. I picked Juan Soto last year. I still prefer Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, so now we're talking about Shohei Ohtani being top 5. Mookie Betts then?
I will stop the brakes there if we're.
So you'd
But
still take Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts is like we're talking about speed and and everything else getting into account. Trey Turner and Mookie Betts gets you more speed production there. So they're
Okay.
more all around players.
So yeah, so I think I would pick Shohei over Manny Machado, but I don't think I can. I think this is a bounce back year for Juan Soto this upcoming season.
That was my concern. I had Juan Soto last year, and I'll still pick him in the first round. But I was really struggling when he went to the Padres. Like
Mhm.
he really whiffed. So I have my doubt. I'm not my doubts, but my concerns about him in the Padres. So
Final question for you. Is Garrett Cole, should he really be the number 1 pitcher taken in a draft, like even in a points league like this?
no,
Who's your number
I'm
1 guy?
Sandy
Oh,
Alcantara.
wow. Man, I
It
don't think
should be Sandy Alcantara in my opinion, but
I think
that's
I'm
just
good.
me.
I think I'm good skipping pitchers in the first round. Maybe I
Me
might just
too.
skip pitchers for the first 4 or 5 rounds, but let's take a look in the second
Not
round.
really. Not
No?
really. I probably in the second round you should pick your best pitcher.
Okay. Is Corbin
But
Burns then? Is that your guy? Is that the guy you're picking first as your first pitcher, Corbin Burns? Yes or no?
let me see. Let me confirm.
Let me confirm,
Ooh.
because otherwise Max Scherzer and
Yeah,
Justin
I'm too
Verlander.
concerned. I'm concerned with Scherzer and Verlander's age.
Take a
And
DeGrom then.
no, DeGrom will pitch you probably 10 games only again. So I'm too concerned with his health also. So
Because my answer is no.
he's lights out. So
Yeah, but my answer is no to all of these guys. Like, no, it might
yeah,
bite me in the ass later, but I think at this point in December of 2022, I don't want to pick any of those guys as my number one pitcher. I'd rather just
I
focus on hitters.
I mean, I probably pick Corbin Burns if that's like if I was the end of the round in the second round, I'll probably go with Corbin Burns.
Yeah, probably not getting in
But if
there.
yeah, but if it's not that, like if it doesn't fall that bad, I'll probably focus on my hitting
All
in
right.
those first two rounds.
So the answer is no, because even the Corbin Burns thing, it comes with caveat. Like, well, only if it's at the end of the second round, not the first.
Correct.
Yeah. By the way, Jordan Alvarez is the pick here. I mean, this guy. I mean, you keep saying that Shohei Ohtani is the number 2 hitter. I disagree. I think Jordan Alvarez was, well, even that according to my
I
selfishly
still believe
speaking.
I think Jordan Alvarez, he was picked too low. I think he should have been a first rounder.
Yeah, that would have been, if he's not a first rounder this year, then he's never going to be a first rounder because I mean, you saw it in the World Series, man. He ripped the crap out of the ball in the playoffs and throughout the year, and he was my number 2 hitter, not Shohei Ohtani. He was the second best hitter in the American League. If Aaron Judge doesn't exist, we're talking Jordan Alvarez MVP winner. Even though he's a designated hitter,
Oh,
but
wow.
he plays some outfield. Yeah, the numbers show, man. The numbers show that he really.
And I don't disagree with that, but wow, I I still believe Shohei Ohtani, but Jordan Alvarez probably is closer to Shohei than people think about. Like, or
No,
even you put him second. So
No, he's way ahead. I think he's a better hitter. The advantage that Shohei Ohtani has is that he can pitch, and if you're in a daily league, that's crucial because when he pitches, he pitches lights out. I've turned around on the Shohei Ohtani thing lately. So I used to be one of those. Well, he only pitches like every 6 games, so because I mostly play weekly leagues. So
yeah,
it sucks as your lineup sets on Mondays. So he's not going to get you a 2 starts at any point. So that's very frustrating. But yeah, you know what? Justin Verlander owners were not complaining about that. He
yeah.
pitched every 6. He was on a 6-man rotation all year long because of the he was recovering from Tommy John surgery. So if it's good enough for Justin Verlander, it should be good enough for Shohei Ohtani. But the problem is that you in the back of your mind, it's a psychological thing, right, Angel? Like you put him as a pitcher, but in the back of mind, if in a weekly league, you're always going to be thinking about Shohei as, man, he should really be in my hitting lineup right now, not my pitching
Yeah.
lineup, in my hitting lineup. Because
That's correct.
so, and that's always going to mess with your head, right? But at any rate, if you just want a pure hitter, just pure hitter with no strings attached, very consistent on a really good team, a very good hitting team who with a bunch of guys who know how to get on base, Jordan Alvarez is your guy, man. That's
I
the
don't.
dude right there, I think.
I mean, I think you're swaying me a little bit more with your pitch,
Uh-huh.
but I in a daily. Let's just agree with this. In a daily league, Shohei Ohtani takes the
Of course.
caveat,
Yeah.
but in a weekly league, I can see the reasoning that Jordan Alvarez should be the pick before Shohei.
All right. So
Yeah.
there it is. So actually Paul Goldschmidt is the second best hitter, but not by much. Jordan Alvarez was number 3, but number 2 in the American League. And no one is even close to him except for Jose Altuve, his teammate. But yeah, 33 points versus 21 points. This is based off these 4 metrics that I use. They're both the rate stats and cumulative stats. Jordan Alvarez was basically the number 2 hitter in the American League behind Aaron Judge. Shohei Ohtani, number 16, and dead last on this list. Yeah. And then Julio Rodriguez too. So we're talking about 2 guys who were first round picks at the bottom of this list. So just
I can't
depends.
believe Johnny Diaz is there.
Yanni Diaz is there. Yeah. To my surprise, he got 2 points for his troubles for the WRC plus. So so basically all things equal, Yanni Diaz is a top 15 hitter. And I can already hear, this is bullshit. This isn't why we don't listen to you, Felipe. But hey,
As a race fan, that's
you can't. Hey, listen, man. The numbers are the
that.
numbers, man. The numbers are the numbers. Okay. This is him performing. This is not me. This is not me making things up. Yanni Diaz finished 8th in WRC plus last year. Shohei Ohtani finished 10th in WRC plus, the non-rate stat. That's just the cumulative stat.
Yeah.
And these 4 stats think that Aaron Judge is by far the best hitter of 2022, but not too. Go ahead. And by the way, Paul
I was also
Goldschmidt
going to
is number
say
2.
we're going to go to Paul Goldschmidt. He was picked number 22 in the draft.
Well, let's get back to it then. I should have kept that.
Would you pick Julio over Paul Goldschmidt?
Julio Rodriguez?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think so. Just I'm a youth guy, as you know. I mean, put it this way: Paul Goldschmidt, you know what you're getting. That's fine. That's fantastic. But he's also going to be a year older, and let's not pretend that he did struggle for a bit there
Okay.
before this season. There's a reason for that, and Paul Goldschmidt's going to go down as one of the better hitters of this generation, of this era of baseball, because he has that ability to adjust. But eventually, Father Time is undefeated. I think he's going to be 34, 35 this year. I think. Let me double check that for you. Let's see. And he's still projected to be one of the elite hitters according to Steamer. 29 home runs, 95 RBI. I think you'll live with that. But I think it's too enticing to pass up on a guy like Julio, who can get you a 30, maybe possibly a 30-30 season. And the one thing knock against Julio is he swings too much, but there's a reason why he can swing so much, because he does have that natural athletic ability to do so. Paul Goldschmidt, 35 next year. So we're freaking out about
concern.
Well, we're freaking out about all these long-term contracts, Angel. Like, why is this guy getting 13 years? Why is that guy getting 15 years? Why is that guy getting 11 years? He's going to be 35 in the next 2 years. What the hell are they thinking? Well, Paul Goldschmidt's already 35 and no one bats an eye. No one's concerned. Yeah. And for good reason, but still, 35 is still 35. Anyway, Bobby Witt Jr., I think he's too low here. So Shohei Ohtani and Bobby Witt Jr. on the same team. So that's
a cheat code.
Well, that's too wild for me, man. I can't do that. I would like to have a little bit more of stability. I think whoever got Jordan Alvarez, so 15, and Sandy Alcantara, I think that's a better combination.
Yeah.
So far. And then who else would be a good one? Vladimir. I can't do math at this point. So what would be 18? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Garrett Cole and Vladimir Guerrero on the same team. That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, but
you're not impressed by it.
I'm not a big Garrett Cole guy. So
Mike Trout finishes off the second round. I know that there's injuries concerns. I know that chronic back issues. It's still Mike Trout though, and I don't know.
He went last year in our league, second round too.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it's his first time. We're seeing it's not the demise of Mike Trout, but people are really, really concerned with his health issues.
Yeah, and the concern, and he falls to the second round, but still, I think I would chase that over Jose Altuve, Paul Goldschmidt. Maybe not so much Ronald Acuna, because I love Ronald Acuna. I would definitely take Mike Trout over any of these other pitchers that got selected here.
Yeah, for sure. But we're talking about like a guy that was a consensus first pick all around every league.
Well, who's picking here? Oh, that's the fan. That's the fan picking. So far, he has Aaron Judge and Mike Trout championship. And Fernando Tatis.
Tatis also has suspension too, lingering. So I don't know how he'll bounce back.
20 or 40 games.
Yeah, but then like you got to deal with the backlash of everything that's been going on. Maybe mentally.
I think he's chopping that the bit. I mean, well, I'll put it this way: Fernando Tatis or Bo Bichette.
Fernando Tatis. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted the so-called safe pick and a chance, and the other thing, Angel, I got to keep reminding myself is no more shifts next year. I mean, there's still going to be some semblance of the shift, but it's not going to be those extreme shifts that people are going accustomed to. I forgot exactly what the rules are, but
yeah, you cannot be on the outfield and over the second base when the ball is pitched.
Oh, I mean, Bo Bichette's going to have a field day then.
Yeah, I mean, they're still going to shift a little bit, but it's not going to be crazy as like 3 infielders and the first baseman in the middle of the left field, on the left side of the field.
Right.
So
let's see here. Bo Bichette, see, that's the thing we got to look into as well, Angel, is like who hit the ball up the middle? And I believe that there is a stat on Fangraphs that we can look at to see. I'm just double checking. Oh yeah, center. Bo Bichette is a guy who tends to hit a lot of balls up the middle. So he has a 29% pull rate, 33% opposite rate, and a 36.9% center rate.
That would benefit him. I
I would assume so. I mean, well, let's see. How does that affect everybody else in Major League Baseball? So let's see. Let's say 400 plate appearances. 400 plate appearances minimum is the qualifier, just for giggles. And we go on my other screen, we go to the batted ball data and we click on the center rate to see who actually led the league in that category. If it could, there we go. Alex Verdugo, 42.3%.
over the middle.
Yep. Center rate. Yep.
Interesting.
Andrew Benintendi. So Alex Verdugo, Andrew Benintendi, same guys, same hitters, lefties, punch and Judy hitters, can get a lot of contact. Ke'Bryan Hayes, a lot of balls up the middle. So people are wondering, why is Ke'Bryan Hayes struggling so much? Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah,
He's being
maybe
shifted
true.
on.
I mean,
Jeff,
he's a hell of a defensive player.
yep.
So maybe this will up his value, so the Pirates can trade him for the cheapest option. So
Also on
it'd be
this
great.
list at number 16, actually, Bobby Witt Jr., who we just talked about. So maybe there's a method. Maybe that's why he should go in the second round.
I was
So
a little bit concerned with Bobby Witt, but I guess you can count also that he's a really speedy guy. He had 21 stolen bases last year, I believe.
yeah, but it's a points
So-
league though. So
I mean, 21 points from stolen bases is still good enough than nothing.
there were 2 points in my league. So
You got 40 points, 42 points there. That's almost an average
Yeah.
of 2 points extra per.
plus whatever
Almost
points you can get for
method.
triples, as for whatever points you can get for triples as well. So 3
Yeah.
points for triples. So yeah, there's a lot of guys who should benefit, theoretically speaking. Even Juan Soto, who you were kind of reluctant to pick this year, 38% up the middle rate. So he might
I mean, Juan
benefit.
Soto's more of a contact guy, so
Yeah.
I can see him benefiting from this. But I'm still
Yep.
concerned also. I believe San Diego is more of a pitcher's park, correct?
Yeah, it's I have to look at the league factors again, the ballpark factors again. But they did move the fences in like several years ago. But I don't know if hey, listen, put it this way: it doesn't stop Manny Machado from producing, right?
Yeah. that's
Fernando
true.
Tatis, when he's healthy, he produces. So let's ask
But they're
you.
right-handers.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Question for you.
They
So
moved the left field, so I believe
that
so.
that would make sense. But let me ask you a question. So now we're talking about 3 shortstop: Bobby Witt Jr., Fernando Tatis, and Bo Bichette.
Okay.
All and by the way, these are all sons of former major league players. I just want to point that out. But who's your number one shortstop of those 3?
If he's available right now, like he's playing,
For next season.
okay.
So this is March of
More outside
2023.
Fernando Tatis.
Okay, there you go. I think I'm gonna go with Bo Bichette. I just love the kid, but I like all 3 of these guys. But if I gotta pick one, I think Bo Bichette might be the safer pick of the 3.
Yeah, and that's what I meant. Like if Fernando Tatis got to go with a suspension to start the season, so my next pick would have been Bo Bichette. But I mean, the higher upside is Fernando Tatis. You've seen with his production when he's on the field. Maybe a defensive liability a bit, but offensively is one of the most electrifying players that you can see on the box. So.
By the way, quick shout out to Randy and Jim from Rhode Island. Hope you guys are staying warm and the blizzards aren't too bad. Thanks for tuning in for a little spit here this morning as we talk some hot stove. What is it? Hot stove, fantasy baseball stove? I don't know, something. But yeah, talking some hot stove baseball. Anyway, we go back to our pitching question. Aaron Nola, Shane McClanahan, Dylan Cease, Brandon Woodruff. Any of those guys do it for you? Shane Bieber as well. Any of those guys do it for you in this round?
I mean, I'm a Tampa Bay Rays fan. I still have questions Shane McClanahan on the 3rd round.
I think I'd still skip any of these pitchers.
Yeah, so like even I have questions. Like I want to pick Aaron Nola. Dylan Cease, he had a really bounce back, a really nice season last year. I don't know if I would pick him on the 3rd round. Shane Bieber, he was in Cy Young on the pandemic season. He's been a little bit, spotty at times in the last 2 seasons. Brandon Woodruff is consistent. I still wouldn't pick him either. I think the only one that has an upside is Shane McClanahan.
And even he comes with risk.
And he comes in not only injury, but he struggled in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I think he was being overworked as well. And those are some tough matchups. And hopefully the new unbalanced schedule, supposedly they're going to go to an more of a balance. Sorry, more of a balanced
Yeah.
schedule. So
No, they're gonna play every team in the league. Yes.
perfect. So, but the last image I have of Shane McClanahan was him warming up, and then the next thing you know, he's grabbing onto his throwing shoulder, his left shoulder, in pain. So I still remember that. So I might just avoid him altogether. Dylan Cease has a high upside. Shane Bieber might be the safe side, but still, Dylan Cease comes with lots of baggage. Plays on a crappy White Sox team. There, I said it. Even though I'm wearing my White Sox set, I don't care. It's a crappy White Sox team. And command issues are always going to be a problem. He did a little bit better of a job last year of controlling his walks, but it's still going to be a problem with him because it's not enough. I mean, he is one of the wilder pitchers as far as keeping his walks in control among the elite pitchers. It's kind of concerning. And Shane Bieber might be the safe pick of them, but it's not enough for me to, oh man, I can't wait to get my first pitcher in the third round. I think I still want to wait and go with the Bo Bichette's of the world, and maybe even the Pete Alonso's. Maybe that's when I pick my first baseman, although I'm willing to wait for my first baseman. What about Emmanuel Clase, first relief pitcher taken in this draft? Is that too early?
Ooh, relief pitching.
In the third round?
I mean, Edwin Diaz is the one after, so that's funny.
Yeah, back-to-back picks by that guy. Who would that be?
I mean,
that would be Dave Funnel, I guess, from Prospects 1500. So everybody, so it's kind of the strategy I used last year in our league, Angel. Okay, so everybody's gonna go after starting pitchers. I'm just gonna focus on relief pitcher first.
And that helped you. So
it did, but
it's risky.
It's risky, as I could pull it off. I don't know if anybody else could pull it off. It's risky. And then
excuse me.
Did you fart? Did you fart? So Emmanuel Clase and Edwin Diaz, interesting. Those will probably be the 1 and 2 best relief pitchers in fantasy circles next season. By the way, quick shout out to Melvin, also regular listener here tuning in this morning. Merry Christmas, my brother. Boricua, Puerto Riqueño. So yeah, 2 best relief pitchers. But my strategy, and I don't know what you do, but my strategy is you at least want to get one of these top 5, top 6, top 8 guys.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just wait. Otherwise, you just wait. I would have been. I'd be happy if I get a top 10, top 12 relief pitcher as well. But
I struggled a lot last year. I went with a lot of starting pitching, which helped me a lot. But then on the saves category and the holds at the start of the season, I struggled a lot. But then I realized that there were a lot of bargain free agents on the market that you could get for holds. So that's when I started dominating for the holds category.
Right. And you know, Guardians have a lot of bullpen guys that can step in, and Terry Francona might decide maybe we should use Clase
as a setup
or a firearm, like 6th inning guy. You know, oh man, we're up by 2 runs, but the bases are loaded. Let's bring in Clase. Luckily,
but I don't think Clase should be used. I mean, Clase is dominant in the 9th, so I don't think they should change the strategy.
But it's still risky because, as you know, the relief pitching is very volatile. It's it's not a steady. Maybe Edwin Diaz could be that steady guy. Maybe Clase as well, but it just seems like it's more
steady for the last 2 years.
Right. It just seems like it's more of a luxury than an actual what do you call it? Than an actual reasonable thing to do here. I think you have to concentrate on other positions. Now this guy has to wait another 24 picks or whatever, 25 picks for his next picks. And that means in round 4, that means he still lacks a lot of hitters, and he probably doesn't have any doesn't have a lot of starting pitchers either. Let's you know what? Let's do that right now. Let's take a quick look at, and I assume it's this guy named Funnel. There it is. Okay, so you got Ohtani, Bobby Witt, Emmanuel Clase, and Edwin Diaz. And then he proceeds to get 2 more starting pitchers. So
Luis Castillo, and I thought it was Luis Castillo and Robbie Ray. Oh, Robbie Ray.
Yeah. So I'm not liking his hitters a lot, but he has pitchers, so good for him. But I'm not liking his hitting lineup so far. All right, let's go back to the 4th round. Nolan Arenado is right after Edwin Diaz. But yeah, since we've
are you a hater of Nolan Arenado?
He's shown enough where I'm like, okay, maybe he's real. Maybe it is real. Maybe I should stop questioning him too much. I just think a lot of it has to do with people having this highlight mentality. Like they see this guy in the highlights every night, and it kind of superimposes their perception of what Nolan Arenado is. Is he fourth round good? Not in my book. I don't think I would. I mean, Alex Bregman, you can probably say he might be better than Nolan Arenado. I'll ask you, Nolan Arenado or Alex Bregman in this round?
My opinion, I'm a big Nolan Arenado guy. I go with
Uh-huh.
Nolan Arenado. And Alex Bregman, he's not struggling, but he hasn't been up to the production when he was in 2019, I believe. He was in the MVP conversations.
Mhm.
That's worrisome to me just a little bit. It's not even like a big gap between Arenado and Bregman. I just feel like Arenado was in the MVP discussions last year. Bregman was a solid, really good hitter on a really stacked Astros lineup. So
Yeah, and I think Arenado has done a good job of adjusting. Like, the team wants him to hit more home runs, and usually he's a cleanup hitter, and he
yeah,
does. He hits more fly balls. The numbers show that he hits a lot of fly balls, and it's worked in that ballpark. So he's had to adjust, and he was already adjusting Colorado a little bit, where he was trying to hit more
yeah.
fly balls. Alex Bregman is a line drive hitter, and that's what he is. He's okay with that. And again, this is another one
He's
where
he's a shortstop converted to third base from college. So
yeah, but I mean, third base. I mean, he's a third baseman at this point, and according to Steamer, it's going to be Jose Ramirez, Arenado, and Bregman, number 1, 2, 3. In terms of how is this listed? That doesn't look. Oh, according to WAR, so Manny Machado, number 4. So I guess we should look at an offensive stat then, and let's go with WOBA, weighted on base average, and they got Austin Riley, Rafael Devers, Alex Bregman, and then Yandy Diaz at number 4. Jose Ramirez at number 5. Number 6 is Nolan Arenado. Manny Machado at number 7. And so according to this WOBA, Bregman is supposed to finish ahead of Arenado by at least 10 points in WOBA. So
yeah, basically we can stay like if you wanted more pop on your third base position, you can go with Nolan Arenado. If you want more consistency as to like hits and doubles and stuff, maybe Bregman is your safe choice to go there. So.
All right. So let's see. Let's go back to our pitching debate. Carlos Rodon, Julio Urias, Spencer Strider, Framber Valdez. Any of those pitchers do it for you if you're going with the strategy that you're not going to draft a starting pitcher anytime soon?
Okay, I got a question. Carlos Rodon or Julio Urias?
Oh, it's Urias, man. Mexico all the way, man. Mexico all the way.
That doesn't. That's what I'm saying. Doesn't make sense why you pick Rodon so high.
Probably a Yankee thing, but then Urias plays on a good team himself, so I don't know. Rodon did have a great year last year.
I mean,
I will give him that, but there's a lot of concerns with him.
I think he pitched on a pitcher's ballpark too.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, you go to Yankee Stadium where basically it's more inclined to opposite field hitting for righties and pull hitting for lefties on the close wall on the right field side. So I don't know if that will that will hurt him a lot, but I'm really concerned about him switching ballparks at this point. So
it is a concern. It is a concern, and that's why Urias, even though maybe people think it was an underwhelming year for him, he's still a darn good pitcher. And
I mean, if this was his underwhelming year, oh Jesus, I want him.
Well, the concern with him, I think the other concern with him is that he'll be pitching in the World Baseball Classic. So we still don't. Last I checked, now things might have changed since then, but I don't know what that does to starting pitchers when they do that. So, but yeah, like you said, if that's his downfall, then maybe it's time to think of 2023 as a bounce back year. But my guy, there's 2 guys I would probably pick here. Maybe not so much Spencer Strider, but you know me, I'm a big Framber Valdez fan. And maybe this is the spot where I draft a pitcher in the 4th round, which last year that would not have been the case.
And you did last year.
Valdez was picked super late, though. I think I got him like in the 9th round or some crap like that. I'll have to double check. But that was super late, later than I mean, I drafted Clase as my first pitcher last year, just because you guys kept gobbling up all the starting pitchers last year. But yeah, Framber Valdez, this is where I'm like, hey, maybe this is the round where these hitters don't do anything for me, but Framber Valdez does a lot for me at this rate. So I think Valdez is the guy. If I got to go for a hitter in this round, this 4th round that shows up on the screen here, again, if you're watching on Facebook, you could see it. but because I'm sharing my screen. And if you're on YouTube, go check out. If you're not on YouTube, go check out YouTube page, because I will upload this over there as well. But I think the guy I'm intrigued to get is Michael Harris II.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, he's one of the guys that we Sean and I we spotlighted in one of our very first prospects shows of the 2022 season. And even though he was in AA, I was like, hey, you know what? The Braves might have something here. There's a reason why they were more than happy to get rid of Christian Pache and just utilize Michael Harris II. And again, this guy was in AA. And then the injury started happening to the Braves. They got off to a slow start, and they started bringing up Michael Harris II, and that basically turned around their season. And along with Spencer Strider and Vaughn Grisham and all those guys. So yeah, I can't wait to see what Michael Harris II does for an encore. It might be a thing of there's just too much unproven commodity with Michael Harris, but it might power speed combination, man. Power speed combination.
I think it's a high risk, high reward type of pick on this point.
Oh, I disagree. I don't think there's that much risk. I don't think
there's that much risk. The sophomore slump we were talking about earlier.
I think he has that. I think he has a good enough approach. I know the strikeouts are high. He doesn't walk a lot, but I think he has a good enough approach. And again, no more shift, at least no more extreme shift. Let's see, plate info. Yeah, he does swing a lot, but he makes inside the strike zone, 87.5% inside the strike zone contact rate. Well, that's the pitch info. Either way, still, I think it's good enough where he should still be productive and give you a 25-25 season next year.
Okay. Now, I can agree with that.
Yeah, and now you might say, well, it's a points league, Felipe. So is that still hold true? I mean, maybe I in a points league I might hesitate now that I think about it, but it's still intriguing. I still want to see if he can what he does is for an encore. And I'm looking at the minor league numbers, and yeah, in the minor leagues he was able to control his strikeouts and still get on base a lot and hit with some authority as well. So especially in AA where it's supposed to be more challenging for the kid, and he just excels, I think. So that's where I'm coming from. Plus, obviously, there's bias there as well, because that's my guy. Fifth round now, Angel. First, can we agree that Josh Hader is a very perplexing pick here?
In what way? Like really shocking as in like it wasn't expected, or
and that might be too early for him. And I think if I'm not mistaken, let me just go check who's picking number 1. Doug Rowe v. Wade. No, row your boat. Come on, do it. I think this guy is picking nothing but relief pitchers.
No, he doesn't. This is his first pitcher.
Oh, okay. So I'm thinking of somebody else. Okay. Oh, the other guy. Oh, it was the other guy who was picking. Never mind. My bad. All right, let's go back to the 5th round then. My bad. Sorry, guys.
Is he the? In this case, is he the best? Is he the 3rd best relief pitcher in the league right now?
I think it doesn't matter. I think you hold off. I know saves are important because they're 10 points each, but we see it all the time, man. I mean, Daniel Bard is always available. Guys like him are always available. And last year, I think I finished with. In my points league, I don't think I finished with the guy I drafted to be my saves guy.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe I even in my categories leagues, for every Emmanuel Clase, my relief core, as good as I am about picking relief pitchers in the drafts, my relief core was basically a makeshift of waiver wire guys who stepped up in the last season. So, like I said, you want one of those guys, but Josh Hader comes with a lot of red flags, and the struggles, the fact that in his mind, he still doesn't have a long-term extension still. So that's a concern. So that's my concern with that guy.
I honestly look really, really steady. I mean, Josh Hader struggled mightily in the middle of the season last year, but as far as consistency, Josh Hader has been consistent for the last 3-4 years as one of the top tier relief pitching in the league.
Right.
I understand the risk, high risk, high reward here. I wouldn't have done it, but I'm not opposed that somebody else does it. Like you hear right now, like okay, I get what you're saying. They pick Class A, they pick Diaz, saves are 10 points. I gotta assure myself at least that I'm gonna get some save points every week.
Yeah.
So,
And that's understandable, but I don't know. I just feel like, well, me personally, I feel like I can just grab whatever from the waiver wire.
yeah,
If I don't get Class A and Diaz, I might just skip saves altogether. Is my mentality here. Not skip them, but just hold
I
off.
get
I
what you're
mean,
saying. I get what you're
yeah,
saying. You can go, you can burn the waiver wire, and you can go later picks that are kind of underrated at some
because
point. So.
yeah, and I don't know what the rankings are right now, but right now, according to Steamer projections, you got Class A, Diaz, Camilo Doval, Liam Hendricks, Josh Hader, Jordan Romano, David Bednar, Ryan Helsley, Ryan Presley, Raisel Iglesias, all finishing about 30 saves, and then Felix
Yeah,
Bautista might get 29. I'm sorry, I'd rather have Felix Bautista at this point.
yeah.
He'd be
I
cheaper.
I agree with that. Like you can find a really reliable relief pitcher later on.
Yeah. And then I was still, maybe George Springer is not a good example, but man, I think I would get Zach Wheeler over Josh Hader, Alec Manoah over Josh Hader, Zach Gallen over Josh Hader, Cedric Mullins over Josh Hader. And maybe the question
Really?
mark is Josh Hader or Yu Darvish. Maybe that's when I decide that Josh Hader is a better player.
Bryce Harper,
well, he's apparently he's going to be out for a while, so maybe not. And it
Max
looks like
Fried.
he's uh I think I
I
will.
picked Real Muto, but free.
Catcher might be too soon still for me. I think I might hold off on
Like
catcher as well.
catcher is really thin, honestly.
I know it is. I know, but I'm targeting a certain guy. I'm targeting a
Tell
certain
me,
guy.
Varcho again.
Oh, you know me, man. I love me some Dalton Varsho. I love Dalton Varsho, brother.
He's really flexible. I can
Yeah,
understand.
I love. Nothing makes me happier than getting a guy who's catcher eligible who doesn't play catcher. That
Maybe CBS or ESPN will realize, yeah, we're giving too much slack to these guys. He's an outfielder from now on.
So I guess Josh Hader over Yu Darvish and Bryce Harper makes sense, maybe, but still, I don't know. It's just, I hesitantly go with Max Fried just because he's on a good team and he can hold his own. And I always, every time I question these Braves pitchers, they always, stick it in my face that outperform my expectations. Thank you, Kevin Gossman. I would always, me, I'm the biggest Kevin Gossman fan, and he's proven that he can hold his own in Toronto. So even Robbie Ray is not too bad. I like Robbie Ray.
I actually had Robbie Ray and Kevin Gossman last year.
Oh, look at you, man.
Robbie Ray was Kevin Gossman for me was the clear pick, but Robbie Ray was my first pitcher off the board. It was kind of like it was underwhelming at best, but
Well,
he still performed.
he'll get you wins and he'll get you lots of strikeouts. You just have to temper your expectations. Maybe in the fifth round, it's too early. I would have gone with Luis Castillo over Robbie Ray. Maybe Joe Musgrove. Joe Musgrove, he's a safe floor guy, but he has a limited ceiling. Whereas Robbie Ray, because Robbie Ray can pump up the strikeouts that Joe Musgrove cannot do. So in that regard, even Logan Webb is a safer pick, but still, I feel like he has limited upside compared to Robbie Ray. Who else is on this pick? Any other starting pitchers? Clayton Kershaw.
No, after that is the seventh round. Is Christian Javier in the next round. McKenzie, McKenzie was really enticing.
So maybe you would have been better off not picking Robbie Ray. I mean Luis Castillo. I mean, he goes Robbie Ray and Luis Castillo go back to back picks, so it's to the same team. But I think I would have done Luis Castillo and then maybe get a hitter like Gunnar Henderson. That's going to be my guy, or even Luis Robert, who if he's healthy, he can put a 30-30 season at the very.
I know you're a big Chicago White Sox fan.
Oh, it has nothing to do with that, man.
No, I know.
A little bit, but not all of it.
But more likely, I think his health woes are really, really concerning at this one. With Luis Robert,
it's one of those.
That's one of the high risk, high rewards type of guy.
Absolutely.
If he plays all season, you're gonna be the steal. I had him before on other leagues, but then he gets injured, and you got to find a lower tier outfielder to replace him, and all your expectations just get plummeted down to drain.
I completely get it. I completely get it. And but I just look back at his minor league numbers. He's always improving. Even here, he's improving. I mean, he keeps dropping his strikeout rate every single year that he's been healthy, and you know, he's shown an ability to just continue to adjust. Because the big thing about him is if you just throw him breaking pitches away, he'll just swing at everything. But you know, his contact rate has improved since his rookie year. His outside the strike zone contact rate has also improved. So if that's the case for a guy who swings at a lot of pitches and he still makes a lot of decent amount of contact outside the strike zone, that's a dangerous hitter right there. Does he hack a lot of pitches? Sure. But when he connects, though, I mean, it's one of those where you can hear the smoke coming out of the bat when he hits. So I still believe in him. Go ahead.
One of the most underrated picks is the one after him. I believe he's been really reliable. And even as a Rays fan, like bias aside, Randy Rosarina will give you production, a really great production. He steals bases. He gets 20 plus homers per year. He drives in RBIs where a guy that steals bases, pretty good enough. I believe between Robert and Rosarina, the safer pick is a Rosarina, but the upside for sure is Luis Robert.
It's a good point of putting it. Yeah. And I had Arizona in my points league, and he was very frustrating to have, but I didn't give up on him in the first half. And in the second half, he just kind of went on a tear. He exploded. Yeah. So I just need more consistency from him. His strikeout rate did drop. No more ship next year. So hopefully that should bode well for him. But the guy I'm probably targeting here besides Luis Castillo is Gunnar Henderson for sure. That's the guy.
He has a lot of upside.
You know how I feel about upside. It does translate into baseball as well. In terms of my fantasy tendency, so to speak. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Let's quickly move on let's go 7th round. Give me a player that you're excited about in this round. By the way, mine is Christian Javier. Can't go wrong with our Houston Astros Houston Astros starting pitcher. Yeah.
I'm really excited about Adley Rushman.
Oh yeah.
I think a guy that can DH and play catcher, same thing as you were saying. Mm-hmm. I think he played first base a little bit last year too. Like they can slot him in on first base. It's a great pick, and he's a really great. I mean, in terms of catching wise, he's a really good catcher. Like he knows how to command the strike zone and everything, but that doesn't really correlate to fantasy a lot because we don't focus on fielding. But in terms of hitting, he was. I picked him up from the free agency. He was undrafted last year. He was probably one of the top 10 catchers on our league last year. So crazy. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Like I would say, like from all the catchers that I had, like I had a lot of catchers that got injured. He was probably the best pickup I had from free agency last year. So.
Oh, free agent! Wow, I want to be in your league.
You were in my league.
Is that the same league that we were in?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, he was
undrafted.
A free agent.
Yeah,
I guess. Why would you pick a catcher?
I understood. He was in AAA when they league. He was in AAA when it started.
Sorry, so, I'm in 2 keeper leagues, so a guy like Adley Rushman, he's never available. So
yeah, no,
but in a redraft league though, that's definitely you could get away with that a little bit. So I guess we're gonna go back and forth. So you gave me a guy you like, a guy that I don't like in this round, Trevor Story. I looked at who else was available at second base, and I think you could have waited. And then look at the guys who are available. Even Carlos Correa is a better pick, even though we don't know what team. Right now he's listed at San Francisco. That's how old. It's from 10 days ago. So, and we don't know what team he's going to play for. Maybe he'll stick with the Mets. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll go back to Minnesota. Maybe he'll be with the Yankees. But time will tell.
He'll be a free agent because of injury reasons.
And as you can tell, Dansby Swanson, he's no longer with the Braves, he's with the Cubs now. So yeah, but I would have picked those two guys, those two shortstops over Trevor Story. Even Jordan Romano. I mean, I talk about waiting until relief pitcher. I think I would have waited. I would prefer getting Jordan Romano in the 7th round than whatever Josh Hader pick was in the previous round. Even Tim Anderson might be drafted too early here, but all of these guys I believe are better options than Trevor Story. But let's move on. Now give me a guy in the 8th round that you didn't like, and I'll give you someone that I do like. It's a lot of dead air, man. You can't be doing that. But anyway, I'll start naming them, and you tell me: Tommy Edman, Vinny Pasquantino, George Kirby, Starling Marte, Dalton Varsho, my guy, Adolis Garcia, Eloy Jimenez, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy, Salvador Perez, Alejandro Kirk, Andres Jimenez. Give me a guy you don't like in this list. Uh-oh. 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 Angel?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
My
I
bad.
thought
My internet freeze. So my
I
bad.
thought it was me. Whew.
No, you did.
Did you give me a guy
I said
yet?
Max Muncy.
Oh, yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good not liking pick. Sorry. A dislike. Good dislike.
Yeah, I was a big Max Muncy fan. Now I'm so torn apart. Like this guy is so underwhelming at times. So
Yeah, great skill set. It's just not translating. And he's all.
Yeah.
We should probably be a little bit more forgiving. He was recovering from surgery. I think he had Tommy John surgery.
True.
Remember, he ripped his elbow, but he is a year older. He'll be 32 next year. Yeah, he'll be 32 next year. So yeah, if he's not posting the power numbers, what exactly is he doing here? So that's a good point. That's actually, it's just too risky for me, and just too risky. I agree with you. Guy I like, it's a lot. There's a lot of guys I like here. I already talked about Dalton Varsho. Even Andres Jimenez, I think he would have been a better choice than Trevor Story, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah.
And then, it's between Vinny Pasquantino and George Kirby. I'm going to go with George Kirby because I absolutely adore the guy. Just a great young pitcher. He'll be doing his second year this upcoming season. Hopefully the Mariners don't do the 6-man rotation anymore. He comes with a great plethora of pitches, and it just seems like he throws all of them for strikes. He was among the league leaders, if not the second best rookie pitcher in our rookie pitchers discussion from last week, the one I did with Sean. And it just a lot of things. And the other thing is, unlike the Dylan Ceases of the world, Kirby does not give up a lot of walks. He's just a control freak, control artist, just a well-rounded, well-polished guy. So I can't sing his praises enough. So give me a Framber Valdez and George Kirby number 1-2 punch, and I'll be happy. And I can already hear people, what the hell is that? That's so underwhelming, Felipe. You're such a hipster. Anyway, there's another guy.
When
Logan
you think
Hill.
about it,
Go ahead.
If George Kirby and Framber Valdez are your 1 and 2, which are pretty reliable and consistent, look at your, then you kind of like have to think that offense has to be the best of all time.
It was proven last year, man. It was proven last year.
Yeah.
Framber Valdez and Logan Gilbert. It was the example for last year. Logan Gilbert going number 1 in the 9th round. But yeah, my offense was killer. Aaron Judge, Xander Bogaerts, Trace Turner. Who else was on that team? My infield was really stacked, and now I can't remember my championship winning team. But yeah, you're right. I focus on offense and trusted my instincts on the back end for pitchers, and it worked out. But let's flip the script here. Give me a guy you like in the 9th round.
I like Nestor Cortez.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
I believe he's really reliable. In terms of winning quality starts. I mean, in a categories league, it's quality starts, but in a points league, he'll give you enough necessary. In this round, some people probably already have 1 or 2 pitchers that are premium. This will be your 3rd pitcher, and that's the best reliable thing to get. And even at your best pitcher, it's a pretty great pick, kind of like a Kirby and Framber Valdez type of thing, in my opinion. So a little bit less than Framber Valdez, in my opinion, but it's really reliable and as a first pitcher.
I
He proved it
see.
to me last year. So
This is weird. I see a Cardinals catcher that is not Yadier Molina, and it's a Cubs catcher named Wilson Contreras. That is gonna get some getting used to, but a good segue to say good morning to my guy Jim who's a big Cardinals fan from Missouri. So thank you for tuning in, for even if it's for 5, 10, 20 minutes, whatever it is. I know these episodes go long, but that's why we have these versions available on all your favorite podcast platforms, on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. And with this video will be uploaded on YouTube. But Wilson Contreras, not too shabby of a pick. I think he's a very underrated catcher. I know when I drafted him in our baseball life league, Aaron, who's one of my league mates and one of the one of the mainstays of the life groups here, gave me so much garbage about, oh, you picked a guy who strikes out a lot. Yeah, but he also is a very productive catcher. And sure enough, he was a very productive catcher. So, but the guy oh, wait, so you gave me the guy you liked. The guy I don't like on this list. Oh, man. See, I was ready to brag about Nate Lowe being selected as a guy that I liked. Shoot. Kenley Jansen. I'm sorry, dude. I can't do Kenley Jansen. No way.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
Jensen that high? I didn't even know this. That's so
It's a
dumb.
name bias, right? So let's look. I mean, maybe we're wrong. What are there any other relief pitchers that Raisel Iglesias? I mean, the Braves think that Raisel Iglesias should be better than Kenley Jansen, right? Is that what it is?
I mean,
I'm a,
Rachel Iglesias struggle a lot on the Angels. That's true. Ryan Helsley, I pick him over Kelly Jensen. It's on the
yeah,
11th round.
yeah. I like Ryan Helsley. Oh yeah, that's a good, much better pick there, I think. And it's 2 rounds later. What
Yeah.
other relief? Felix Bautista. Come on, Felix
Oh
Bautista.
yeah, true. Wow, that was a bad pick.
I don't like it.
That was-
I don't like
that
it.
was a bad pick.
Who else is available as a relief
I mean,
pitcher?
in my opinion, at this point, I don't know if I was a big guy on Brian Buston. It's still a 9th round, but he gets injured too much, man.
Yeah, that's a risk. And it's a pattern too. It's a noticeable pattern. So yeah, there's other relief pitchers I would have selected over Kenley Jansen, just to finish up that other conversation we got going there. And if you don't want to look at relief pitchers, I mean, I don't know who this Masataka Yoshida guy is yet. I haven't looked too much into him. I think I would have rather picked him over Kenley Jansen. I already told you how much I like Wilson Contreras. Luis Severino is going to be his first healthy season back from Tommy John surgery, and he looked pretty good last year, all things considered. Byron Buxton is a better pick. I'm sorry. Yeah, injury riddle. But when he's healthy, he's one of the most explosive hitters in all of baseball. And Giancarlo Stanton, that might be a wash. But Stanton, again, if he's healthy in Yankee Stadium, he's one of the most feared power hitters in all of Major League Baseball. So let's move on to the 10th round. Give me a guy you don't like in that 10th round, and I'll give you a guy that I like in this round.
A guy I don't like. I'm torn between. I'll go with Freddie Peralta, even though I had him last year. He's injury riddle too. I just really concerned with future pitchers that have injuries that last more than 60 days. It's a consistency thing. So Freddie Peralta, probably at two more rounds, and I'll wait for him. But
and I think it's to the point where I think the Brewers are ready to give up on him.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so that's a good. That was going to be my pick for a guy that I dislike, but a guy that I like. Let's see here. Oh boy, it's some good, decent.
Some really good picks here.
Very good picks. I mean, I'm looking at Brandon Nimmo. I'm looking at Rhys Hoskins, Anthony Rizzo at first base. This is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons I wait for first baseman, because I can still get Rhys Hoskins or Anthony Rizzo in the double-digit rounds. But let's go with the upside guy. Let's go with Corbin Carroll. Probably the prize of that Diamondbacks rebuild as of right now. Good power, from what I remember, good power speed combination. I'll confirm if that is the case or not in just a second here. I could have sworn he was a good power speed combination. And it's a short sample size from last year with the Diamondbacks. Oh, but here we go. 80 speed and a 55 raw power number. So then the power might not be there, but the stolen bases could be. So, and also comes with a decent hit tool as well, according to his Fangraphs prospects grades. How did he do once he got called up in terms of the plate discipline? Decently patient hitter who makes a decent amount of contact. So if that can, if he can finally harness some of that raw ability and take advantage of his skill set, we might have something. He might have a 2020 guy in his second year in the league. So I'm excited about that. Let's move on to so that was the 10th round. We'll move on to the 11th round. Now give me a guy you do like in this round, in the 11th round.
11th round. I mean, you already mentioned him, Felipe Bautista. Really like him.
Yeah, that's crazy. That I know it's early and things might have changed from 10 days ago. But Felix Bautista going in the 11th round is just insane to me. It's just really insane. If there's a guy you want to reach for as a relief pitcher, that's the guy Felix Bautista is. But that's just me,
Felix
though.
Bautista will be my pick.
Good pick. Guy, is that the guy you like? Right?
I really like Felipe Batista in terms of like low risk, high reward. In my opinion, I think Nick Castellanos, like if he bounces back, his 11th round is not bad to pick him. So he's really like a low risk. Like you pick him later, you already have a couple of outfielders just to fill the last spot, or even that just to have bench depth when they're injured or something like that. This Castellanos is a great pick there.
All right. The guy I don't like in this round, what did I say, 11th round? Yeah. Tyler Anderson going to the Angels. I think that's another fool's gold situation. And the Angels are straight from central casting, this being a Los Angeles team, right? Hollywood, central casting. This is typical Angels buying high on it. I mean, you could say, well, the deal's not that bad. But the deal is also for Tyler Anderson to help out immediately, and I don't think he will. I don't think he's that guy. Yeah. He's to his credit, he's done a good job of controlling his contact rates, because I'm surprised that they're not higher for a guy who doesn't strike out a lot of guys. But I think that whatever it is that was made him successful with the Dodgers, he is not going to find that same success with the Angels. I just don't see it. I think that's a 1 year of good Tyler Anderson, and be ready to just get the worst of Tyler Anderson during the duration of that Angels contract. He'll be 32 next season. So I know I'm not saying guy who preaches that sometimes older starting pitchers are better than younger starting pitchers. But in this case, limited strikeouts. I mean, great control. I'll give him that much. Great control. But I just, and you know what, to his credit, it's very hard to put a good barrel on any of his pitches, because I guess the movement that he creates is just so great that it really frustrates hitters. I just think that is more of an association being with the Dodgers last year than it is of him being getting that skill set. And all right, 12th round. So a guy that you don't like, who is it?
Don't like. I mean, Chris Sale has been out for so long.
Ooh.
I'm not big fan of him anymore. But I mean, still like lower rounds, so not that bad. But from what I see here, is the worst pick of all of these. So
let's go back. Chris Sale or Hunter Green. By the way, Chris Sale and Hunter Green go to the same team, but assuming that it wouldn't have gone to the same team, would you have picked Chris Sale over Hunter Green here?
Hunter Green has also injury concerns, but he's a really high strikeout guy too. Chris Sale is also getting older, so Hunter Green has a lot of upside too.
What about Jose Barrios over Chris Sale?
Jose Barrios has been more consistent up to this point.
Wow, that's saying a lot. Kodai Senga for the New York Mets. I believe he's the Japanese import. I think.
Yeah,
I haven't done my research.
That's a walk. I believe there should be like a relative stop, because you don't know exactly what you're bringing from, how it will correlate from Japan to the U.S. So.
But would you pick him ahead of Chris Sale though? That's the question.
I mean, is Chris Sale gonna hit his hand again on a bicycle trip or something?
I guess that answers that question. Ranger Suarez or Joe Ryan over Chris Sale?
Joe Ryan, yes. Ranger Suarez, ooh.
What about Pablo Lopez over Chris Sale?
Pablo Lopez has been more productive before.
John Gray?
Last year was a little bit. John Gray will be
healthier at the very least.
Yeah, John Gray is pretty good, but I could stop there in John Gray. But Joe Ryan and Pablo Lopez, I'd probably pick over Ranger Suarez too. So
okay. Going back, what round were we in? The 12th round. The guy that I like, Grayson Rodriguez. I mean, so there's a lot of good guys here, and it's not fair because I always mention Grayson Rodriguez in every podcast at this point. But yeah, guys that are also worth keeping an eye on: Stephen Kwan, Jesus Luzardo, Jeff McNeil, maybe a bounce back from Chris Bryant. Nick Lodolo is definitely a guy I'm high on. Dustin May, he's going to be healthy. So that's just a quick recap on those guys. But Grayson Rodriguez is the one that stands out for me the most. And that's because I'm the biggest Grayson Rodriguez cheerleader of all time at this point. And yeah, I wasn't excited about the Orioles last year. As you know, I always badmouth the Orioles, but Grayson Rodriguez is the guy that, and Gunnar Henderson as well. But Grayson Rodriguez is, the more I read about him, the more I watch him, the more I look into him, the more excited I get about him. So that's my guy. I know he's a rookie, but man, this could be one of
Love
those
at first
where
sight.
love at first sight, but one of those that this is a rookie that you pick that makes all the difference in the world for you. Might be a little too high for some guys, for some owners, some players in fantasy league circles, but he's 12th round. If that's the cost for the guy, I might just have to, it depends where I have him on my rankings, but if that's the cost, I might just have to pull the trigger on that. Let's go to the 13th round. So I did one that I like. Why don't you give me someone that you like here in the 13th round?
Okay, 13 round.
First, it's double checking how many rounds we got left. Oh crap. Okay, we're still a ways away, but let's try to see how fast we can go here. 13th round, go.
I go Joe Ryan.
No, guy, that's the guy you like, right? Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
I'm
Joe
getting
Ryan.
confused. Yeah, and we mentioned this on last week's show about the rookies. Joe Ryan is a guy that I'm concerned about, but there's no denying that he was productive last year as well. So it can go either way. Guy I don't like on this list, Brandon Lau, I guess, just to pick someone.
I agree.
Yeah, too many
I would
strikeouts.
and injury concerns are when he's not available most of the time, but when he's available, he's striking out. So what's the point?
Well, the point is because he can hit 30 home runs, I guess, from the second base position. I think that's what it is, right?
Yeah, but I mean, as a fan, it's kind of concerning that it's every 4 games that he hits a home run, and then he strikes out the rest of the at bats. So it's kind of like, what's your risk there? So
Yeah.
my
Well, how much risk are you willing to take for a guy like that? I get it.
yeah, exactly.
Brandon Lau, according to WOBA projections from Steamer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's supposed to finish 6th in WOBA next year with 27 home runs, but also 142 strikeouts and 515 plate appearances. So what does that equal to? 515 divided by 142.
That's almost like 20% of your plate appearances, or probably 18.
Well, those are at bats. Okay, let's do it. So he strikes out once every 3.6 at bats, which is pretty darn I guess high. I guess it'd be too high.
Yeah.
So 142 divided by 604 plate appearances. That's actually lower, 24%. That's actually lower than what he did the last time he was healthy. So I guess Steamer is suggesting that if he can limit his strikeouts, and meaning he'll probably not hit 30 plus home runs, 27 home runs is still good to go with 26 doubles. But
I'll take that.
You would take that. All right, but it still comes with a 240 batting average and a 323 on base percentage. So, and only 4 stolen bases and 2 caught stealing. So, not what I want to look from a second baseman there. Round 14, give me a guy you don't like in the round 14.
I mean, I'm torn in my opinion. Gary Sanchez, I don't like him. I don't like Gary Sanchez a lot. Those 2 catchers are kind of, I mean, maybe I'm not really, I don't know MJ Melendez a lot, but from what I heard, he's not that reliable, but who knows? Maybe
I'm a big Melendez fan, so I'm too biased. And that's one of those guys that he will see playing time outside of catchers. So you know how I like my catchers. I prefer them
makes sense.
Not to play as a catcher for real life. But yeah, he was able to walk 12.4% of the time against only 24 and a half strikeouts. So that's pretty darn good for a rookie. Still got to hit 18 home runs. And 91 mile per hour exit velocity last year with a 10.4% barrel rate. So there's a lot of promise. But I understand the concerns here, but I will personally just say, hey, he was a rookie, give him a break. So
yeah, okay, I get it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I wasn't really aware since I didn't follow him a lot last year, so I'm not really aware. But from what I heard, mean, kind of like Salvador Perez is still there too. It's kind of like how much plate appearances will he have. So
Yeah. So you're gonna go with Gary Sanchez?
yeah, I mean, high strikeout. I mean, you're getting a lot of homers, but there's a lot of high strikeouts, bonehead
Yeah.
plays. So
Yeah, it's to the point where even I won't take it. I'm like, I was at one point the biggest Gary Sanchez homer, no pun intended, but I can't do it. By the way, MJ Melendez penciled in as the #1 batter in the Kansas City Royals, leading your leadoff hitter.
yeah, okay, makes sense.
And he'll be sharing time with Salvador Perez at both catcher and DH, according to this thing. Just depends what the Royals end up doing and if they sign up anybody else. But right now, leadoff hitter from a catcher, you got to take it. What's there to hate? Anyway, the guy I do like, I guess I'm gonna go with O'Neal Cruz and take his baggage. Raw, athletic, God gifted, physical attributes, but with very little skill set. Like there is a lot of refinement left to be done on this kid, but you cannot ignore the fact that he is a piece of specimen. He breaks every StatCast record. It seems like he throws harder than anybody else. He hits the ball harder than anybody else when he makes contact, actually, and it just makes the plays that you wouldn't expect from a basketball player playing shortstop, basically. So that's my guy that I like in this round. What round are we in? 14th. Let's move on to the 15th round really quickly. And now it's your turn to give me a guy. Yeah, you do like here.
I got two here.
Oh
I
God.
mean,
Let's go.
I mean, I'm gonna special mention to Drew Rasmussen. I believe that he's one of the underrated picks here. He
I like
really
him.
showed out last year.
I like him a lot.
I
Yeah.
really love Luis Arias. Luis Arias is probably one of the most underrated pickups here of late rounds. So Clay Holmes too, actually. Didn't notice him from first instance, but I'll go with Luis Arias.
All right. Hey, by the way, your microphone keeps cracking, so I don't know if you could do
Okay.
anything to adjust that. That's fine. I'm just letting you know. Guy. So that's the guy you like. Guy I don't like. It's like these guys are so meh, they're so blasé. I'm so blasé about it. I guess Chris Flexen, just by default. Hell, even Matt Chapman.
I got
Matt.
Rendon.
I'm sorry, what?
I got Rendon too.
Oh, I'm still a big Anthony Rendon homer, though. I believe if he's healthy, he can still get you one more year of 25 home runs and 100 RBI, especially with the Angels, with Ohtani and Trout and batting in front of him, hopefully. I guess Chris Flexen's my guy. It just seems like he will be the odd man out in Seattle. He's a very dependent on pitch to contact stuff. Does not offer much in strikeouts either. Last I checked, he's just a very boring guy, and he is going to get overshadowed in a very good Mariners lineup rotation, I should say.
I agree.
And I'm double checking roster resource, make sure I'm not talking out of my butt here. Yeah, he's not even listed in the. He's not even listed in the starting rotation anymore. He's listed as a long relief guy. And yeah, 95 strikeouts against 137 innings pitched. What is the point to all of this? You guys call yourself experts, huh? So Matt Chapman's I guess would be my hitter, I guess. So that's another red flag guy, because I don't know what's going on with Matt Chapman, and I'm quite frankly I'm tired of wait on him. So let's give me a guy you don't like in the 16th round.
16th round.
And just to kill the dead.
Gleyber Torres, maybe even here. Like are we giving him too much chances at this point?
Nah, I think he's just right. He's now concentrated as the Yankees second baseman. The concern is that there's some guys that are coming up for the Yankees. If anything, he gets traded. He gets traded to a team that has room for him at second base, like the Marlins, I guess. So Starlin Castro, he'll take the route of Starlin Castro, or maybe he'll go back to the Cubs. I don't know. We'll see. But I think Torres proved himself last year as being a decent 2010 guy. If he gives you 2010 guy, if he's a 2010 guy in the 16th round, I think you will take that as a guy. But yeah, but if you don't like him because you don't trust him and you don't trust the situation with the Yankees, I can respect that as well.
I get it. I just feel the situation will make him bench a lot, so I'm not really that high on him. He has the talent. If he goes on another team, maybe it's justifiable. But at this point, And the Yankees, he was really high on them, and then now he's playing kind of like a platoon type of, coming in to replace injured players. So
Yeah, I mean, he got to 572 plate appearances and played 140 games, so that doesn't happen by accident. But Yankees are loaded. Yankees are
yeah,
loaded, man. Like I said, they got a couple of prospects that are coming up. You still got to play DJ LeMahieu all over the place, and Torres might be a guy who suffers from that lack of playing time. So I get the concern, but in the 16th round, I think it's a safe pick. But if you got but I'm forcing your hand here. Let's go this way. Gleyber Torres or Jonathan India in this round at second base. Who do you take?
ooh, I mean, you're a big Jonathan India guy,
I am, yeah. And India once
so
again injury riddled, but when he's healthy, rookie of the year guy, right? So
correct. I pick Jonathan India.
yeah, I mean, I think I would pick Jonathan India too, but that would depend on him being healthy for an entire season.
Agree.
And yeah, whereas Gleyber Torres, he actually 140 games, 572 plate appearances. And again, the competition comes in the fact that maybe Osvaldo, I forget if Osvaldo Cabrera plays infield or not. I thought he does. I thought he did. But either way, I mean, you still got Peraza
Is
down
that the
there.
guy that was also playing right field too at times for the Yankees?
It sounds right. It sounds right. I could have sworn that he was also a second baseman coming up. I'm double checking that right now. But yeah, he did play. He played some first base, second base, third base, shortstop, left field, right field. So he was mostly a right fielder last year, but he did play all over the infield as well, for wherever he was needed. And you still got Oswald Peraza, and you still got Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who I have no doubt in my mind could play some second base if need to, and DJ LeMahieu. And that doesn't even include the guys who are coming up the pipeline either. So that Gleyber Torres is a concern. But Torres is also penciled in as a leadoff hitter for the Yankees at this moment. So
I agree.
That's value. Jonathan India, number 2 hitter for the Reds as of right now, but former rookie of the year as well. Looks like India just turned 26 and Gleyber Torres 26. So they're both the same age. So it just depends what you like there.
I feel like it's more about availability, but like I think India will be more available for that. So
yeah, so India, I don't see a lot of competition for Jonathan India there. So he just has to stay healthy. Guy I like. Oh, Luis. I gotta be careful here, but I can't help it, man. Luis Garcia. I can't. You can't go wrong with a Houston Astros pitcher, especially this late in the draft. You can't go wrong. I know there's a lot of concerns with Luis Garcia, but I just can't help but fall in love with these Houston Astros starting pitchers, man. And special note to Jose Miranda, who had a decent rookie campaign. So hopefully it's more positives for next year for Jose Miranda of the Twins.
I agree.
Give me a guy you like in the 17th round. And again, just to kill the space here, Oscar Gonzalez, Nate Ovaldi, Martin Perez, Jack Flaherty.
Recording in progress.
Ooh, echo. Cody Bellinger give Angel some technical difficulties time. Cody Bellinger also got picked in this round. Jorge Polanco, DJ LeMahieu, Edward Cabrera, who I really like, Mitch Haniger, who was always hurt, Taylor Ward, who's just a whatever hitter, Andrew Haney, and Tyler Mahle. Are you back there, Angel?
Yeah, I'm back here. I just got to switch from my phone to my computer.
All right. Who's your guy here?
It's gonna be Tyler Mahle performed a little bit well last year, given the fact he's a lower rounder. Yeah. Martin Perez was an all-star last year. I think he's a good pick here. I really like Martin Perez on this round.
All right. I was going to pick Martin Perez as the guy I don't like. I think he's a fraud. He's a fluke. He has no breaking pitches. And the fact that I know I use a lot of advanced stats for my end of year stuff, but I also use traditional numbers. He did not place anywhere in the top 10, or he didn't pitch up to his all-star caliber is what I'm trying to say here. I never liked him and I never will. That's my guy. But since that's your positive player, I'll just go with Jack Flaherty. Then, if that's the case, the shoulder injuries are a major concern. He couldn't stay healthy last year. They gave him all the time in the world to rehab and to give him the rest, and he's still kind of he just couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. So I'm a little concerned. I'm very concerned, actually, more than little. I'm very concerned. If I'm a little concerned, it's because it's still around 17th round pick. But still, I mean, let's look at the other pitchers that are available. I think I would pick Martin Perez over Jack Flaherty. And, and after that, what? Edward Cabrera, I'm a big fan of. The only thing I don't like is that the Marlins have a lot of good starting pitchers coming up their farm system. Andrew Haney, Jesus.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Well, I put it this way: Haney's healthy, right? And he's
I
pitching in a gargantuan ballpark in Texas too. So
mean, let's put Jack Flaherty healthy too.
I don't trust him.
Pretty damn good when he's healthy.
I don't trust him anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's pretty good when he's healthy.
I get it, but I just don't think he will be. I think those arm problems are more concerning than when the Cardinals are believing to be. I think
Don't get me wrong. I really like your pick as not liking him, because those injury concerns are horrible. But as in terms of like talent, he's not the worst talent here. It's just that his availability, let's go with that again, is not there. Like, why would you trust a guy that is gonna pitch 5 games and then injure for the rest of the season?
And when there's plenty of pitchers, there's a plethora of pitchers you would probably take here. I mean, you just mentioned Tyler Mahle at the end of this round. I mean, let's keep going here. Who else is it? Sonny Gray. I think I would pick Sonny Gray.
Yeah, Sonny Gray, I would pick him for sure.
Even Brian Bello for the upside. As you know, Angel, he helped me win that championship last year. Mike Clevenger for the White Sox. Hey, Clevenger looks to be healthy to me. It's all about availability. Jose Urquidy. Yeah. Reed Detmers, he showed out in his rookie campaign. Yeah. Patrick Sandoval, still, even though he's a veteran, he still has a little bit of upside left. Cal Quantrill, pitch the contact pitcher who's shown that he, even though I don't like him that much, he's shown an ability to be consistent in the majors. And let's see, what did they say about Jack Flaherty? What's the latest? On October 4th, Flaherty struck out 1 and allowed a hit in 1 relief inning and an 8-7 extra inning win. Tuesday in Pittsburgh, he did not factor into the decision. Flaherty was expected to throw multiple innings and roughly 45 pitches on Tuesday, but ended up tossing just 19 pitches in his 1 frame. Since returning from a shoulder injury at the beginning of September, he has a 3.86 ERA with a 1.46 WHIP and a awful strikeout to walk ratio of 27 and 13, which that's a 2-to-1 ratio, which not for what you expect from an all-star guy. He is likely to get the start in Game 3 of the National League Wildcard Series if that game is necessary. So. No, I don't think so. Let's see, for 5 starts, making it back. Flaherty has only logged 190 innings over the past 3 years. 190 innings over the past 3 years, guys. Even if healthy and effective, Flaherty's workload will likely be monitored. The smart approach is drafting Flaherty as a luxury, but chances are someone will pay for the potential.
I feel he should be used as a long reliever.
Yeah, get his arm strength back a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, we're in the 18th round. What did we do? Oh, guy that you don't like, Angel. Give me a guy you don't like here.
Gavin Lutz is good a little bit. But I mean, I'm not really familiar with Josh Young, so bear with me on that one.
I'll give people. He's supposed to be the Rangers' best prospect, even as a third baseman. From what I understand, good power pick here as a hitter. Lots of promise. He did get hurt last year for a little bit, but as of right now, the Rangers are excited to have him penciled in as a starting third baseman. Last I checked, and I'm double checking all that as we speak. But getting back to the Josh Young, if my computer could just cooperate a little bit, Josh Young comes with a decent hit tool, lots of immense power, and a very good fielder. 60 future value according to Fangraphs, which is pretty darn high. In AAA last year, only 106 plate appearances, but he was able to hit 273 with a 321 on base percentage and a 525 slugging percentage. So the power is there. But concerning is that as a 24-year-old, he only hit for a 104 WRC plus. I'm not sure if that's anything to do with injuries or whatnot. The previous, and this was second goal in AAA, because in 2021 he also played in AAA, and he posted much better numbers in his first year in AAA than he did in his second year. But I think there was some injury situation going on here. I just don't remember what those injuries were.
Okay.
And he's penciled in as a starting third baseman, the number 1 prospect in the Texas Rangers farm system, according to Fangraphs, number 15th overall to finish out the year, according to Fangraphs as well.
Okay.
So the upside is there.
I wouldn't bet against offside. So maybe Mike Clevenger's injuries also concern me. Yeah, will be a good pick. Gavin Lutz also. I like Gavin Lutz. Availability is my concern here. Like, he's always seemed like a guy that will fill in, like he would, whenever we need an outfielder, he'll play outfield or second base or third base. But if everybody's healthy, he won't play. So it's kind of like how much can you trust that somebody will be injured so he can fill it up. So
Yeah, a lot of promise too for that guy, but it's been 2 years, maybe 3 years at this point, and there's just too much talent with the Dodgers, and anytime he gets a chance to shine, he kind of underwhelms too. So I agree with that. Josh Young was a shoulder injury for that kid, so
Gotcha.
we'll see if he's fully healthy. So a guy I like, there's a lot of guys that I like here. I mean, Jose Urquidy, I just mentioned. I'll just go with Alexis Diaz, the relief pitcher for the Reds, assuming that he will be the closer and get you the save. That is Edwin Diaz's brother.
Yeah.
So and lightning stuff, just like Edwin and Diaz, maybe not as good, but still lightning type of stuff. And he was among our best relief pitchers of the past year, according to my numbers. The spreadsheet I showed you earlier. He finished among one of the best relief pitchers in all of baseball last year, and that's that's based on traditional and advanced metrics as well. So especially in the 18th round, if you're getting a prime closer, and the Reds have some guys that can get in there and be a threat. I wouldn't bet on any of those guys. I mean, the guy to get here is Alexis Diaz for the Reds. So round 19, guy you like. And I mean, this is a round that starts out with Ezequiel Tovar, Miguel Conforto, who's now with the Giants, Brandon Drury, Trevor Rogers, Marcus Stroman, Javier Baez, and so on and so forth. But is there a guy anywhere in this round that you like?
I think Eugenio Suarez is really low, my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it's still a bad taste in people's mouths from his last year in Cincinnati, where he was a shortstop, and not only was he bad defensively, but he wasn't hitting anymore. And a little bit of a bounce back year last year for the guy, and he's a very it's a depth piece for him, and that just shows how deep third base is as well. He still strikes out too much though. He'll do double-digit walks, but last year he got 31.2%. That's a career high, and that's already with an increasing strikeout rate to begin with. So there's a little bit of a red flag. But I mean, let's find out who else was available at third base. Brandon Drury was also selected in this round, like I mentioned, but Eugenio Suarez was the second third baseman picked in this draft in this round 19. If we go to the 20th round, Ryan McMahon. I mean, do you trust Ryan McMahon over Eugenio Suarez? No, right? I mean, I think McMahon also strikes out a lot. Jordan Walker. That's an upside pick, and I don't know if he's actually going to start or if he's going to get a chance. But do you
maybe Justin Turner too in the next round?
Oh yeah, maybe. Justin Turner. So you got one guy with promise and upside, and you got the Justin Turner pick, who steady but old, and we don't know what to expect. And he's going to a new team. I forgot which team it was, but
yeah, it's true. Is he going to Boston?
Oh yeah, so Green Monster. So yeah, him and Trevor Story can grow old together and be miserable together and be unproductive together. But I'm looking to see what St. Louis is thinking about Jordan Walker there. But do you pick any of those two guys over Eugenio Suarez at this point?
Maybe upset of Jordan Walker. I think Justin Turner's ceiling, we already seen it. Eugenio Suarez hits a lot more homers, and in a points league, again, he's going to provide you more points with homers. So
let's see what else we got here. And that's it. Okay, so that's the end of okay, we're almost done here. Good. So yeah, Jordan Walker is penciled in as starting the season in AAA. He probably will get invited. He did play in the Arizona Fall League, apparently, according to Fangraphs. The number 1 prospect for the Cardinals, number 8 overall, according to the Fangraphs 100. So that's the guy. Eugenio Suarez is your guy. Special honorable mention to Dre Jameson. For the Diamondbacks, I think he's going to be a good one next year as well for a starting pitcher. I know starting pitcher is a little risky to trust, but I believe in him. Guy I don't like. Lourdes Gurriel, I guess. It's on point, right? Because
Conforto?
I'm gonna give Conforto a break, and I'm gonna give him a break, and I'm gonna wait and see. But Lourdes Gurriel, because at least with Conforto, you have that, it could be anything. It could be a surprise, it could be, I mean, he still comes with a good plate discipline. He won't swing at every pitch that he sees. Gurriel's a little bit more of an impatient hitter. It works for him, but I just never liked the guy. I think he's way too inconsistent. I think he's too much of a hacker. I think the Blue Jays the fact that they only had to give up Lourdes Gurriel and Gabriel Moreno for Dalton Varsho is a big win for them. I know that my colleagues, my fellow admins, Corey and Vince, disagreed, and they thought that the Blue Jays overpaid. But I'm a big fan of Dalton Varsho from both a fantasy and a real life baseball perspective. Gabriel Moreno, these catchers, man, these prospect catchers, they
kind of flop a lot.
They flop a lot. And Moreno's big saving grace is that he has a high hit tool. Congratulations, you got the next coming of Omar Narvaez. Then good job, guys.
My gosh. That's disrespectful.
I'm sorry, there's no power there. So if no power and you're just like every other catcher that's out there. You're no Adley Rushman. You're no Buster Posey. You're no Joe Mauer. So what do we have here? You got Omar Narvaez or Christian Vasquez. Congratulations.
Hey, Russell Martin.
If you're lucky. If you're lucky, and then Lourdes Gurriel's coming back with a wrist injury, which sapped a lot of his power, so he made up for it. And again, I got to remind myself, no more shift for next year. But still, I never liked Lourdes Gurriel, even when he was healthy. I think he's just too inconsistent. Then
what about Jesse Winker though?
Oh yeah, well, I've always liked Jesse Winker.
Okay, who would you pick, Jesse Winker or Lourdes Gurriel?
Oh, it's Winker, no hesitation. It's Winker.
Yeah, pretty bad year last year, but.
Yeah, and I think that's more. I mean, going to Seattle, that's a big. Even though they too moved the fences in several years ago, it's still. I think it's still a not a good place for hitters to go to, unless you're Julio Rodriguez. The strikeouts were alarming last I checked. But the Mariners were competing, and there's a lot of outfield depth because Winker is an outfielder, and there's a lot of guys who needed the plate appearances at DH as well. And let's see what did Winker do to hurt people. He still doesn't strike out a lot. He's great plate discipline, so I'm a sucker for that, as you may or may not know. So hopefully going to Milwaukee does wonders like it did to Christian Yelich when he went to Milwaukee, and he's in the middle of a lineup, and he is supposed to, well, he's the time sharing, but with who? Keston Hiura, Mike Brousseau, come on.
Yeah, okay, I agree.
And Lourdes Gurriel, he might be in a timeshare too. I mean, the Diamondbacks are loaded in the outfield, and they're gonna need some playing time for some of those young players to play DH. So maybe he gets traded somewhere else. Maybe that'll work wonders for him. But anyway, round 20. Give me a guy you don't like here. Round 20. And just to give you some time to think, we're talking about Paul Sewald, Aaron Ashby, Roddy Tellez is the first corner infield that goes. Dylan Carlson's the first outfielder that goes in this round. And as you could tell here, Angel, no more middle infielders. I think the so-called experts realize that middle infield is not a spot you want to wait forever on. So yeah, now we're just seeing corner infields and outfielders and some leftover starting pitchers and pitchers overall getting picked in this round. So with that being said, give me a guy you don't like in this round.
I don't like Ryan McMahon. I think he failed me too much last year. I don't trust him. Defensively, he's really, he can go to position and position. Again, that doesn't help in fantasy. So he's just really inconsistent batting. Like I think I let him go on to the waivers. So it didn't help me a lot. So
I'm gonna give you some time to clear your throat. Listen, man, playing time will be abundance. I think he signed to a long-term deal, so I think the Rockies might want to justify that. Last I checked, I might be wrong. Oh yeah, 6 years, $70 million. So he's gonna get the playing time.
That's a bargain. That's a bargain.
Right. Yeah, bargain for a guy who strikes out a lot, sure. But he also walks a lot too, relatively speaking, all things considered. And he's guaranteed for 20 home runs. He'll probably qualify at either second base or third base. So that's value in itself. So there's the one advantage of being a pretty good defensive infielder is that you get to play multiple spots and qualify everywhere and get playing time because you're steady with the glove, I guess. He also played 3 innings of shortstop. So that's a thing. So he's going to qualify in a lot of positions, so to speak, I guess. But I guess he would be the guy that is the highest question mark here. Guy I like in this round. It's getting tougher here now, isn't it? Because I can't keep picking all these rookies, right? There's Let's go with Kenta Maeda and the possibility of a big bounce back year. The Twins are better off when Maeda is healthy, and when he's not starting, he can also be a good relief pitcher. So if you need holds, that's your guy. Maeda is slated to be penciled in as a number 4 pitcher for a rotation that really needs him. So that's a promise. That looks very promising for that Twins rotation. I don't know if it's going to be good enough for them to be competitive in the Central. I mean, it should be to at least be 81-81, right? That looks like a good 81-81 rotation to me.
I guess.
So, yeah. And then
I
let's see.
like Joan Duran.
I like Joan Duran too, but I just don't know what the Twins are doing anymore, man. As you know, the Twins, they don't believe in that closer stuff. Joan Duran will probably be that, like I mentioned about Clase, he'll probably be the guy that they use in the 6th and 7th inning just to get them to the 9th inning guy. And Jorge Lopez, I don't believe in him, but I think they like the fact that if Jorge Lopez starts the 9th inning with nobody on base, that he will be more successful than not. I don't trust him though. That's just me. I'd rather have Joan Duran as my closer, but that's not the way the Twins work. So we got to be mindful of that. Otherwise, yeah, hell yeah, Joan Duran has been my guy for like the last 2-3 years. Just waiting for him to come up. Getting back to Kenta Maeda, Steamer projections has him at 146 innings pitch, good control, decent strikeouts for a 34-year-old. He'll be 35 actually next season. And he can control his walks and give you a respectable strikeout rate. So if he's healthy and he continues to throw the ball the way he did in this late in the draft, I think that's a good pick. It's a solid, safe pick if you're trying to fill out your starting rotation in the back end of the draft. Last round, we made it. Guy you like here. And let me go back and just say Joey Meneses is the first corner infield taken in this round. Andres Munoz is the first relief pitcher. Ross Stripling's the first starting pitcher taken. And the first shortstop, we just mentioned them earlier, the first middle infielder, Oswald Peraza was taken in this round. So go ahead, man. Give me someone you like here.
Peraza, I like him. I think he can play outfield too, right?
I believe so. I mean, these Yankee prospects are they are very versatile, so to speak. So yeah,
I like Peraza. Noah Syndergaard too. LA is known for turning fool's gold into gold. So
yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah. So we'll see if Syndergaard can go back and be as close to his dominant self. I don't think he could be ever as dominant, after all the surgeries or whatnot. I honestly don't know how many surgeries he's had, but yeah. A special shout out to Andres Munoz. That's you picked the guy you like. So, but still, special shout out to Andres Munoz. If you're in a holds league, pick up Andres Munoz right now. If you're in a 5x5 league, he will do wonders for your ERA and WHIP and get you lots of strikeouts. So Andres Munoz, sneaky pick. A guy I don't like, Joey Meneses, I guess, just because he's old and the national. I think Meneses is his profile is more of a bench piece, at the very least, part of a platoon system on a really good team, but he's not going to get the playing time that you will need to justify getting him this late. I would rather have Spencer Torkelson just because of the upside alone in this round. That was the other first, but even Matt Mervis for the Cubs, I'd rather have him just for the upside alone. And
what about
Nico Horner? Nico Horner, regardless of position, I would rather have Nico Horner over Joey Meneses. I know what to expect from Nico Horner at this point of his career. Joey Meneses, I don't know what the Nationals are thinking, but but you know what? I do know that the Nationals are trying to do a youth movement, and Joey Meneses, when we did a spotlight, I think he was 31 years old. We did the spotlight for him because he was one of those traditional September call-ups or whatever, guy he's going to be 31 next year. Yeah. So he was 30 years old before he got called up, and he had a wonderful stretch last year where he hit 13 home runs in 56 games. Well. What's that?
He played really well last year.
Exactly. But number one, are those numbers real? And number two, are the Nationals going to give him basically he's a Frank Schwindel. What Frank Schwindel did with the Cubs in 2021, that's what Joey Meneses did for the Nationals in 2022. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter. So maybe the Nationals can do a better job of flipping him for some help, some what do you call it? Younger players at the trade deadline. All right, man. Hey, I think we went super duper long, but that's expected. These mock draft breakdowns are usually it takes up a lot of time. Plus, we got sidetracked, but that's fine. It's the last episode of the year, so this will hopefully warm you up and get the baseball juices going for you people when you listen to the audio only or YouTube versions of it. Angel, what did we learn about this episode today?
We have learned that we know nothing.
We know nothing. That's the one guarantee. We know nothing. So why did we do it? No, for real. What did you learn? What did you learn?
One of the things we learned. You were saying not draft a pitcher until the fourth round. Not draft a pitcher until the fourth round. What else? I think one of the things we noticed later is not a lot of middle infielders. Like a lot of corner infielders at the end. So maybe focus on your middle infield on the start, and then you can probably get some probably low end at the end of the day, but really productive corner infielders. So.
Yeah, we say that as Osvaldo Peraza and Nico Horner gets drafted at the very end, but let me see. 20th round.
Before that, there were like 20 picks that were not either that.
Yeah, Javier Baez, but come on, do you really want Javier Baez even as a 19th round pick? Do you really want Javier Baez to be your starting shortstop, or even Ezequiel Tovar? I mean, this is so even if they do draft, they come with a lot of question marks, right? I guess what we're trying to is a lesson we learned. Gavin Lux, another middle infielder, question marks. Even in the 18th round, lots of question marks. I don't care that he's a high upside pick. That's not the high upside I'm looking for. Jorge Polanco, I had him on my team. Disappointed last year, but so yeah, you want to make sure you get Jeremy Pena. As much as people love him, 16th round looks like it's a good pick, but you know what though? He struggled though. He did struggle. He did not put up I think his TV highlight exposure might have messed up people's perceptions, but Pena did not have that fantastic of a rookie season in terms of regular season production. Where he did shine was in the playoffs for the Houston Astros, for real. So I'm not going to take that away from him, but just to take a quick look at him, 289 on base percentage. That's all I need to know. 289 on base percentage and only a 3.9 walk rate. So he has a lot to learn. Raw numbers though, 22 home runs and 11 stolen bases, you will take. So it's not all loss, but there's some inconsistency red flags for me. Anything else, Angel? Any last words from you?
Not at the moment. Thank you very much for inviting me here. So
thanks for tuning. Thank you for I know we talked a lot. We wasted a lot of time before we went live and before we hit the record button, just talking. Always a pleasure talking to you, my brother, man. I enjoy the few times I've interacted with you in this realm. I definitely enjoyed my times with you in our leagues. I guess it's appropriate to say how much I appreciate you at the end of the year, right? New Year's is about to come. It's kind of a Thanksgiving pseudo thing happening here with the holidays. But I do thank people like you, but most especially you as an individual. I do thank you for being a part of this little world that we're trying to build here, not just for the podcast, but for the all the Facebook groups that we have going here for basketball, for pop culture, for baseball, football, all of it. So even you've done a wonderful job just going with the wide world of sports life. You did a masterful job with the coverage of the World Cup, and I couldn't have done it by myself. So I'm glad that you actually took the mantle, you and David. But since you're here, I give you the shout out and the appreciation that you took that mantle and just ran with it. So I do thank you a lot for doing that. So yeah, it's been a pleasure, man. Been a pleasure for all of you guys. Season 3 is in the books. We look forward to season 4. I don't know when we'll restart that. But yeah, we're gonna take a break and hopefully we'll come back refreshed. Austin and I are already working on our spreadsheets for next year. As you know, Angel, they are very time consuming and a lot of work. But you say that they work. You're a consumer of these spreadsheets. So yeah, you go ahead. You tell the people, do they work or are they just a big waste of time?
Hey, I went to the semifinals last year and that was mostly drafted players. So I'm just saying they work. They work.
Thank you, Angel. Dashing endorsement from my guy here. All right, Angel is over there. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year to you,
Merry
Angel.
Christmas.
If I don't tell you that when I see you later, Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year to everybody. We will see you on the other side of 2023. Take care. Goodbye.